Hi everyone, and welcome back to your awesome reading comprehension. Today we are going to do level 1 lesson 8, and it's very cold in the studio, so I'm wearing the jacket. My students say I look like a big fuzzy bear. Let's get started. Now remember, if you want to follow along in your own book and take advantage of all the extra lessons, get your copy of my book. Yeah. Okay. Here is the image that goes with today's story. It's pretty happy looking, right? Yeah, it does look happy. I'm excited to see what happens today. Now, before we start with any story, we have to look at the questions to know what is important and what we should pay attention to. So, here are the questions. Number 1, what is this story about? Number 2, what was John's job? Number 3, why was he sad last year? Oh. Number 4, what was John sure to do? Number 5, what did John design for his house? And number 6, how did John change this year? So, those are some interesting questions, but it gives us an idea of what to look for in the story. So, let's read the story. Here we go. His house was finally finished. John was an architect, which meant he drew and designed houses for work. John loved his job. For the last year, he was sad at work because he was always designing houses for other people. He made sure their houses were beautiful. He made sure everyone else had a house they would love living in. John was sad because he wanted a house for himself. John bought a plot of land. His plot of land was very big and had no houses on it yet. John drew a house on paper. He made sure the rooms and windows were very big. He also drew 3 bedrooms, a bathroom, and a big living room. John hired people and paid them money so they would build his house. Finally, after a year, John's house was finished. John was so happy, he jumped for joy. He jumped just like the picture. See what I did there? Okay, let's take a look at the very first question. What is this story about? Well, the story was about John and what John did, and he was building houses, right? He was designing houses, and then he wanted a house for himself, so he built a house for himself. So, what is this story about? This story is about John, the architect, building a house for himself. Yeah, John is an architect, so it's about what he does and what he did for himself. He built the house for himself. That's pretty nice. Yeah, building a house for yourself. It must feel very satisfying. That's why he jumped for joy. Let's look at number 2. What was John's job? Well, here we go. Another one that we already know the answer. Remember Stamos from the last one? I bet you know what this one is, but let's look in the story anyways. John was an architect, which meant he drew and designed houses for work. So, what was John's job? John was an architect. Remember, take it right out of the story and put it down as your answer. Can't get it wrong. Let's look at number 3. Why was he sad last year? So we know that we have to look for sad, how he felt, right? And we know when this occurred. So it was last year. Let's take a look at the story. I have 2 sentences highlighted here. For the last year, he was sad at work because he was always designing houses for other people. John was sad because he wanted a house for himself. You see that? We really had to highlight the words sad. Sad was our key word, and thus we had defined sad. It happened twice, right? He was sad for 2 reasons. So, number 3, why was he sad last year? Well, he was sad because he worked all year building houses for other people. And he wanted to build a house for himself. See, there were 2 answers. Make sure when you look for your keywords, sometimes they're separated, right? Well, sometimes they happen 2 or 3 or many times. You never know. So you have to make sure you look for those keywords. And if those keywords ideas match, they're part of the answer. In this case, we had 2 sentences, so we had 2 answers that we needed to put together. We joined it with the word and, right? He was sad because he was building all the houses for other people, and he wanted a house for himself. Be careful. Make sure you put the whole answer. You find everything and make it into one sentence. You're doing okay, though. Number 4. What was John sure to do? Well, sure seems like a very specific word, right? Sure. So we know that's our key word, our key idea. Let's see if we can find sure in the story. I'm sure we can. And I was right. He made sure their houses were beautiful. He made sure everyone else had a house they would love living in. And look at that down at the bottom. He made sure the rooms and windows were very big. So John made sure of a couple of things in this story, right? And just like we did for the last one, we have to put these together. They're the same thing. What was John sure to do? Well, first, he made sure the houses he designed were beautiful and people would love living in them. Period. That's one part of the answer. Yeah, we have to add in the second part. But because we joined in that first part and second part with the word and, we can't add the second half, right? We have to make it a new sentence. Happens. So the second part of this answer is he also made sure the rooms and windows in his house were big. That's important, right? What did John make sure of? Well, he made sure of the stuff he did for the other people, but he also made sure of the things he did for himself. There you go. And they were in different parts of the story, just like I said. We had it up here, and then we had it down here, and we put it together. This time, we couldn't join it with and, right? We had to make 2 separate sentences. Why? They were 2 separate things, right? But they were the same idea. And that's another thing we have to watch. The first one, the third one, question 3, they were right next to each other, the same idea, so we connected it with and. This one, they're the same key word, but they're not the same thing. He was building houses for other people, and he was building a house for himself. Separate ideas, but the same key word. So, separate sentences, okay? Yeah, you're smart. Let's keep going. Number 5. What did John design for his house? Keywords are super important. Design and whose house? His house. We have to find that in our story. Let's take a look. There it is. He made sure the rooms and windows were very big. He also drew 3 bedrooms, a bathroom, and a big living room. So the question says, what did he design? Design, draw, make, right? Create, imagine. Synonyms are important, right? What did he design for his house? He designed big rooms with big windows, period. Why? Because we had 2 things in the sentence, big rooms, big windows. So we connected those together. Now we need the other part. He also designed 3 bedrooms, a bathroom, and a big living room. What did John design for his house? Both of these things. And they're related. But we couldn't use and because that would be a really long run-on sentence, right? He designed big rooms, big windows, and 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. And see how it's too many ands? It was better to separate them. And the nice thing was, in the story, that second part of the answer was already done for you. It was already done for you. So we just copied it from the story. Cool. Let's look at number 5. How did John change? Not number 5, number 6. Yeah, we're on number 6. How did John change this year? Change. John changed. So we have to look for how John is different, right? He's not the same. Let's jump into the story and bam! Here we go. For the last year. Okay, so this is last year. He was sad. He was sad at work because he always designed houses for other people. But how was John? He was sad, right? Finally, after a year, John's house was finished. John was so happy he jumped for joy. That is our answer. Context. We had to look before. How was John? Well, John was sad. So we know where he started. He started at sad. And how did he change? Well, he's happy. He changed from sad to happy. So, how did John change this year? Well, after a year of building his house, because that's part of the question, right? It says this year. So we have to say that. After a year of building his house, what happened? John was happy. I'm happy John was happy. I would be happy too, wouldn't you? If you had finally worked hard enough and designed your own thing and made your own thing and it was done. Wouldn't you feel happy? I would feel happy. Let me know what you think of today's story. I hope you had fun. I had fun. And I'm going to put my jacket zipped up and get on home because it's chilly in the studio today. See you for the next lesson, all right? Bye.